And thank you very much for joining me here today. I'm Don Ma. To start off, some China-related stories. TikTok owner ByteDance said on Tuesday it's in talks with multiple prospective buyers of its gaming assets. And this is including the world's largest video game company, Tencent, as the Chinese social media firm retreats from the gaming industry. Here's the report.
ByteDance is in talks to sell its gaming assets. The TikTok owner said Tuesday it's speaking with a number of potential buyers, including the world's largest video games company, Tencent. A ByteDance spokesperson said talks are ongoing, but no deal has yet been reached. Local Chinese media reported ByteDance is in discussions with Tencent about a deal involving multiple popular video games. Tencent did not immediately respond to a Reuters request for comment. In November, ByteDance said it would overhaul its Nuverse gaming unit. The Chinese social media giant further said it would pull away from its gaming business to focus on other core businesses. It comes just 5 years after it began its move into the $185 billion global video games market. ByteDance's relationship with Tencent has warmed after a harsh period of competition in gaming. Reuters reported last month Tencent made heavy use of ByteDance's advertising network to promote its latest game, Dreamstar.
Meanwhile, Apple is feeling the pressure from competitors, it seems like, as analysts report a double-digit drop in iPhone sales in the first week of the year. And this is despite aggressive discounts on multiple iPhone models, according to Jeffrey analysts. It found 30% of sales falling. This is based on its own market tracking. And comparing this to last year in China, when the tech giant saw a 3% decline year over year. Jeffrey's analysts are pointing to pressure from Chinese rivals for the dip, especially from Huawei, who launched its Mate 60 series last year. This is considered Huawei's comeback to the high-end smartphone market after U.S. sanctions has hampered its progress for years. Meanwhile, U.S. chipmaker Nvidia plans to begin mass production in the second quarter of 2024 of an artificial intelligence chip it designed specifically for China to comply with U.S. export rules. This is according to two people familiar with the matter on Monday. Here's more.
The H20 chip is the most powerful of three China-focused chips Nvidia developed to meet restrictions announced in October. It was first scheduled to launch last November, but the plan was delayed. Sources told Reuters at the time the holdup was down to issues server manufacturers had integrating the chip. Nvidia declined to comment. Reuters previously reported that Chinese companies were reluctant to buy the downgraded H20, and they're testing domestic alternatives because of a fear the US could tighten restrictions again. Last year, Reuters reported search engine leader Baidu ordered AI chips from Huawei in a shift away from Nvidia. In addition to the H20, Nvidia plans two other chips that comply with the new restrictions, the L20 and L2. The chipmaker has yet to announce the sale of any of the three.
China has announced sanctions against 5 American defense-related companies. This is in response to the U.S. selling arms to Taiwan, as well as U.S. sanctions on Chinese companies and individuals. Now, the sanctions freeze any property the companies have in China and prevent any business being done with them. The companies being sanctioned include BAE Systems Land and Armaments, Alliant Tech Systems Operations, among 3 others. The Chinese Foreign Ministry said that the moves made by the U.S. harm China's sovereignty and security interests. The U.S. said the sale would support the modernization of Taiwan's armed forces and the maintenance of a credible defense. A South Korean company has struck one of its largest deals to sell its American-made solar panels to Microsoft. Q-Cells has announced that it will supply Microsoft with 12 gigawatts of panels for the next 8 years. The panels will be made at Q-Cell's new multi-billion-dollar factory in Georgia. For Microsoft, the company has been looking for a reliable solar panel provider to reach its goal of operating on 100% renewable energy by next year. And for Q-Cell, the deal will help it compete against China by establishing a solar supply chain in the U.S. And Boeing's latest 737 Max crisis deepened after United Airlines and Alaska Airlines said they had found loose parts on multiple grounded Max 9 aircraft, raising new concerns among industry experts about how its best-selling jet family is manufactured. Here's more.
Boeing faces deeper trouble over its 737 Max jet. US watchdogs have already grounded 171 of the planes after a panel blew off an Alaska Airlines flight last week. Pilots were able to land the crippled aircraft without serious injuries, but now United Airlines says it has found loose parts on some of its own 737 MAX 9s. The carrier says it found bolts that needed tightening on several panels. Reuters sources say United has so far found close to 10 aircraft affected by the problem. Late Monday, Alaskan said it too had found what it called loose hardware. The news will raise fresh concerns over how Boeing's best-selling model is manufactured. National Transportation Safety Board Chair Jennifer Homendy said Monday that the cause of the blowout remained unclear.
We need to first and foremost figure out what happened here on this aircraft. If we have a bigger system-wide or fleet issue, we will issue an urgent safety recommendation to push for change.
Max jets were previously grounded for 20 months following 2 fatal crashes that killed 346 people. Those accidents were traced to a design flaw that has since been fixed. Now aviation experts say the new problems raise real questions over quality control at Boeing and supplier Spirit Aerosystems, which makes the panels. However, the part that blew off is only fitted to specific variants of the Max. United and Alaska Airlines are the biggest operators of the affected type. Other carriers to ground planes include Turkish Airlines and Aeromexico.
And Boeing shares fell nearly 7% in U.S. trading midday Monday following the temporary grounding of some of its best-selling 737 MAX jets by the U.S. aviation regulator. Here's a look.
Shares of Boeing fell 7% in midday trading Monday, though were down more earlier, following the temporary grounding of some of the company's best-selling 737 MAX jets by the U.S. aviation regulator. This came after an accident Friday where a cabin panel ripped off an Alaska Airlines jet while in midair shortly after takeoff, forcing pilots to return to the airport in Portland, Oregon, where the flight originated. The plane with 171 passengers and 6 crew on board landed safely. Shares of the airline fell in morning trading but were near break-even by midday, while those of Spirit Aerosystems, which makes the plane part in question, were 8% lower at lunchtime, which was better than their performance at the opening bell. The 60-pound part of the fuselage that came off covers an optional exit door. It was recovered on Sunday by a Portland school teacher who found it in his backyard, U.S. National Transportation Safety Board Chair Jennifer Homendy said. The piece will be thoroughly inspected, she said, though investigators won't have the recording of the communication of pilots from the cockpit voice recorder or CVR to review. Currently, regulations only require that device to record the last 2 hours of communication, and it was too late when it was recovered, renewing attention on an industry call for longer in-flight recordings.
There was a lot going on the flight deck and on the plane. It's a very chaotic event. The circuit breaker for the CVR was not pulled. The maintenance team went out to get it, but it was right at about the 2-hour mark, and it was completely overwritten. At 2 hours, it re-records over it, so we have nothing from the CVR.
This incident is just the latest in a series of problems Boeing has had with its MAX jets. Crashes in 2018 and 2019 killed nearly 350 people and led to the MAX's worldwide grounding for 20 months. In this instance, Boeing confirmed Monday it had already taken steps to get the grounded planes back in the air. It has shared instructions with airlines about inspecting the grounded fleet, which is a key requirement of regulators before the planes can resume service.
Now, the U.S. Federal Reserve may have a conservative outlook on rate cuts, but optimistic investors are predicting more cuts on an accelerated timeline next year. Some Wall Street investors think there could be as many as 6 cuts starting in March. Fed officials have only penciled in 3. Optimistic investors are noting points made by officials during their December policy meeting. In the minutes, officials saw that the risk of inflation could stall or reignite has diminished. and noted that a downside risk to the economy with an overly restrictive stance. But the central bank is leaving the possibility of another rate increase on the table, and they say there is still a lot of uncertainty over whether inflation will actually continue to drift down to its 2% target. And Eli Lilly has launched a first-of-its-kind website to offer people direct access to popular weight loss drugs like Mounjaro and Zepbound. Lilly Direct is a new direct-to-patient prescription and delivery model, and it aims to simplify and streamline access to weight loss treatment. Through the platform, patients can choose from a directory of telehealth providers, and together the provider and the patient will determine the best treatment. Once prescribed, medications can be directly delivered to homes through affiliated pharmacy services. The service is open to people who fall in the obesity range, which is a body mass index of at least 30. And now, with all the recent reports of employers demanding workers return to the office, you'd think it's happening everywhere, though not according to Moody's Analytics. The company's new report shows there's now more empty office than at any time since 1979. It's because more people are working from home, and that's the trend that appears to be growing. The office vacancy rate rose to 19.6% in the last quarter. It makes the largest quarterly increase since the height of the pandemic in the first quarter of 2021. The only bright spot is in Class A office space, which accounts for the newest and most modern buildings. Office space in the suburbs is also doing better than in cities. Moody's says that it's likely because they offer easier commutes for workers. And top U.S. congressional leaders agreed on $1.6 trillion in top-line federal spending for fiscal year 2024 in a deal aimed at averting a partial government shutdown later this month. U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Mike Johnson said. Here are the details.
Top U.S. congressional leaders on Sunday agreed to a $1.59 trillion spending deal for fiscal year 2024. That deal is meant to avoid a partial government shutdown later this month. In a statement, Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson said the top-line figure includes $886 billion for defense and another $704 billion for non-defense spending. However, Democratic Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, in a separate statement, said the non-defense spending figure would be higher, closer to $772 billion. The defense portion had already been signed into law by President Joe Biden last month, and according to Schumer and House Democratic Leader Hakeem Jeffries, the non-defense discretionary funding will, quote, protect key domestic priorities like veterans' benefits, healthcare, and nutrition assistance. The move comes as Congress was scheduled to return to Washington this week to tackle deadlines coming up on January 19th and February 2nd for settling government spending through September. Biden said on Sunday the deal moved the country one step closer to, quote, preventing a needless government shutdown and protecting important national priorities. But a more difficult task is still to come. The Republican-controlled House and Democratic-controlled Senate still have to agree on exactly where the funds will go.
And OpenAI is pushing back against a New York Times lawsuit alleging the artificial intelligence service violated copyright laws by using Times journalism to train its systems. In a blog post Monday, OpenAI said the suit is without merit. The New York Times sued OpenAI and its business partner and investor Microsoft for copyright infringement last month. The Times alleged their AI technologies illegally copied millions of Times articles to train ChatGPT and other services to provide people with instant access to information. It claims those services now compete with the Times. OpenAI reiterated Monday its claim that training AI systems with what it called publicly available internet materials is covered by fair use protections under copyright law. Historical drama Oppenheimer and media dynasty drama Succession dominate the Golden Globe Awards on Sunday as Hollywood threw its biggest party since labor disputes shut down much of its show business last year. Here's the report.
The Golden Globes kicked off this year's Hollywood award season in style on Sunday, and also marked entertainment's biggest party since the 6 months of strikes by actors and writers that shut down the industry for much of last year. Oppenheimer won big for film, taking home the top prize for drama and 4 others, including the coveted Best Drama Actor prize for Cillian Murphy, and another for Best Director, Christopher Nolan's first at the Globes.
I can only accept this on behalf of people. As directors, we bring people together and we try and get them to give of their best.
Poor Things.
Meanwhile, Poor Things, starring Emma Stone, beat out smash hit Barbie for Best Movie Musical or Comedy. Stone was also named Best Actress in a musical or comedy for her portrayal of Bella Baxter, who embarks on a dramatic voyage of self-discovery and liberation. On the TV side, media dynasty drama Succession and dramedies The Bear and Beef fared especially well. Succession depicts the power struggle among members of the wealthy, backstabbing Roy family. For its fourth and final season, the HBO show broke the record for most Golden Globe TV Award nominations and took home the Best Drama win, as well as 3 for cast members. Jeremy Allen White received his second Golden Globe for his role as head chef Carmy in The Bear.
I can't believe I'm in this room with all these people I've loved so much, admired so much for so long. It's unreal. I love this show.
Netflix comedy drama Beef won Best Television Limited Series, and leads Ali Wong and Steven Yeun brought home Best Female and Male Actor in that category. They were the first Globe wins for both actors and a nod to an Asian-led series. Sunday was the first instance of the Globes under new organization, after an ethics and diversity scandal led the 2022 ceremony to be scrapped, and reforms were made to its voting structure. As part of the new effort, Sunday's winners were decided by a comparatively racially diverse block of roughly 300 entertainment journalists from 75 countries around the world.
And thank you for watching NTD Business. That's all the stories for today. See you next time.